The phone rang at 6 in the morning, shattering the silence of my small kitchen in Portland. I was measuring coffee grounds, my hand steady until I saw the caller ID, Sacred Heart Hospital. My heart stopped, then started racing. Mrs. Patricia Chambers, a woman's voice, professional but urgent. Yes, this is me. This is Sacred Heart Hospital. Your son, Daniel Chambers, was just admitted. He's in critical condition. You need to come immediately. The coffee scoop clattered to the floor. What happened? Is he, ma'am, please come now. Fourth floor, intensive care. Ask for Dr. Reynolds. The line went dead. I didn't remember grabbing my purse. Didn't remember locking the door. I just remember running to the street, my 72-year-old legs moving faster than they had in years, waving frantically at a passing taxi. Sacred Heart Hospital, please hurry. My son, the driver, nodded and stepped on the gas. During that 20-minute drive through morning traffic, my mind raced through every terrible possibility. Heart attack, car accident, stroke. Daniel was only 43, but his father had died young. Heart disease ran in families. Please God, not my son, not Daniel. The taxi pulled up to the emergency entrance. I threw money at the driver without counting it and ran through the automatic doors. The hospital smell, antiseptic, and floor wax hit me like a wall. My son, I gasped at the reception desk. Daniel Chambers. They said fourth floor intensive care. Before the receptionist could respond, a hand gripped my elbow, firm, urgent. I turned to see a nurse, maybe 35, with dark curly hair pulled back in a ponytail. Her name tag read Jennifer Martinez, RN. Her brown eyes were intense, frightened almost. She leaned close to my ear and whispered fast, Mrs. Chambers, listen very carefully. Your son is not in intensive care. He's not sick. This is a trap, trust me, come with me right now. My brain couldn't process the words. A trap, what did that mean? But they called me, they said, I know what they told you. I heard them planning it. Please, Mrs. Chambers. Do you trust me? Something in her eyes, a mixture of compassion and fierce determination, made me nod. She pulled me gently but quickly down a side corridor, away from the main desk. We walked past patient rooms, past a nurse's station, through a door marked staff only. She guided me into a small storage room filled with medical supplies, boxes of gloves, stacks of linens, IV bags hanging from hooks. The smell of latex and alcohol was overwhelming. Stay here, don't make a sound. In about 5 minutes you're going to understand everything. And Mrs. Chambers, what you see is going to hurt. But you need to see it. I don't understand. You will, I promise. She squeezed my hand once, then closed the door. I stood in the darkness, my heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. My hands shook. My legs felt weak. I leaned against a shelf of supplies and tried to breathe. What was happening? If Daniel wasn't sick, if this was a trap, then voices. Coming from the hallway, familiar voices. I moved closer to the door, found a thin crack where I could see out into the corridor. And there he was, Daniel, my son, walking down the hospital hallway without a care in the world. No injuries, no illness, no pain. He wore a crisp blue button-down shirt and khaki pants. His hair was styled perfectly. He looked healthy, strong, completely fine. Next to him walked his wife, Vanessa. Tall, blonde, wearing a designer dress that probably cost more than my monthly pension. Her red heels clicked on the linoleum floor. And with them, a man in a white coat, doctor's coat, stethoscope around his neck. He looked about 40 with styled hair and an expensive watch. They were laughing, actually laughing. I pressed my hand against my mouth to keep from making a sound. You sure this is going to work? Daniel asked, his voice carrying clearly down the empty hallway. The doctor, if he was even a real doctor, clapped Daniel on the shoulder. Trust me, cousin, it's foolproof. Your mother arrives panicked. We take her to room 412. I give her the devastating news. Stage 4 cancer. Inoperable, maybe 6 months to live. My knees buckled. I grabbed the shelf to keep from falling. And while she's processing that, Vanessa added with a smile in her voice, you have the power of attorney papers ready. Mom, we need to handle your affairs. Make sure everything's in order. Just sign here, here, and here. The fake doctor nodded. By the time she realizes the diagnosis was fake, the documents are filed. The house is transferred. Game over. Daniel ran his hand through his hair. He looked uncomfortable for just a moment. And you're absolutely sure this will hold up legally? Daniel, for God's sake. Vanessa's voice went sharp. We've been planning this for 6 months. The lawyer already reviewed everything. Your mother's pension, the house in Laurelhurst worth $800,000, all of it becomes ours. We just need her signature. What if she gets suspicious? She won't, the fake doctor said confidently. I'll use medical jargon she won't understand, show her fake test results. By the time I'm done, she'll be so scared and confused she'll sign anything. They stopped walking, standing just a few feet from my hiding place. I could see every detail of their faces now. How much are you paying him? Daniel asked Vanessa quietly. $20,000, but it's worth it. Once we have the house, we sell it, pay him, and still walk away with $780,000. Plus her pension gets transferred to your account with the power of attorney. That's another 3,000 a month. 3,000 a month, my entire pension. The money I'd worked 45 years as a school teacher to earn. My mom's going to hate us, Daniel whispered. Vanessa touched his face. Baby, your mom is 72 years old. She's lived her life. It's our turn now. Think about what we can do with that money. The condo downtown we've been wanting. The trip to Europe, private school for the kids, everything we deserve. She's my mother. She's a burden. Face it, Daniel, she's getting old, getting forgetful. In a few years, she'd need a nursing home anyway. We're just accelerating the timeline, being smart about the resources. The fake doctor checked his watch. She should be here any minute. Let's get to room 412. Daniels, you lie down on the bed. I'll hook up some fake IVs, and when she walks in, you look weak, like you're dying. Can you do that? Daniel nodded slowly. Yeah, I can do that. They started walking again, moving toward a room at the end of the hallway. Their voices faded. I stood there in the darkness, shaking so hard my teeth chattered. The phone in my pocket, my old smartphone that Daniel had been trying to get me to upgrade, sat heavy against my hip. The door opened quietly. Jennifer slipped inside. Did you see? She whispered. I couldn't speak, just nodded. Mrs. Chambers, did you record it? I stared at her. Record? Your phone. Did you record what they said? I. I didn't think to. She pulled out her own phone. I did. I started recording the moment I saw them walk in. I have everything they just said. She showed me the screen. The recording was running, 7 minutes and 42 seconds. Why? My voice came out broken. Why are you helping me? Jennifer's eyes filled with tears. Because 3 years ago, my grandmother went through exactly this. Her son, my uncle, tricked her with a fake medical emergency. By the time we figured out what happened, he'd already transferred her house, emptied her savings. She died 6 months later in a state nursing home, heartbroken and penniless. She gripped my shoulders. I work in this hospital. When I heard them planning this at the nurses' station, they didn't know I could hear them. I knew I had to stop it. I won't let it happen to another mother. What do? First, we get you out of here before they realize you're not coming. Then we go to a lawyer, a real lawyer, and we make sure your son never gets the chance to do this to you. I looked at the door, toward the room where my son was probably lying on a hospital bed right now, practicing his dying act. The son I'd raised, the boy who'd cried in my arms when his father died, the man who'd promised to always take care of me, that man was gone, or maybe he'd never existed. Okay, I whispered. Let's go. Jennifer led me through a back stairwell, down 3 flights, out through a service entrance. The morning air felt cold on my face. I realized I was crying. She walked me 2 blocks to a coffee shop, sat me down in a corner booth, ordered me hot tea I couldn't drink. Mrs. Chambers, I need to ask you something important. Is your house in your name only? Yes. My husband and I bought it 40 years ago. When he died, it transferred to me. It's all mine. Good. What about your pension? Direct deposit to my checking account. Daniel and Vanessa have been asking me to add them to the account for emergencies, but I haven't done it yet. Thank God, Jennifer pulled out a business card. This is my aunt. She's an elder law attorney. She specializes in cases like this. I'm calling her right now. Within an hour, I was sitting in attorney Rebecca Martinez's office downtown. She was Jennifer's aunt, same dark curly hair, same fierce determination in her eyes. I told her everything. Showed her Jennifer's recording. Explained how Daniel and Vanessa had been pressuring me for months to sign financial documents. Rebecca listened without interrupting, taking notes. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair. Mrs. Chambers, what they attempted to do is called elder financial abuse. It's a felony in Oregon. The fake medical diagnosis, the conspiracy to defraud you, the planned power of attorney scam, all of it is prosecutable. I don't want my son to go to jail. I understand. But you need to protect yourself. Let me ask you this. If you do nothing, if you just go home and pretend this didn't happen, what do you think Daniel and Vanessa will do next? I thought about it, really thought about it. They'll try again, maybe differently, but they'll try. Exactly, because they've already decided you're an obstacle to the life they want, and obstacles get removed. The words hit like a punch to the stomach. Rebecca opened a folder. Here's what we're going to do. First, we're filing a protective order. Daniel and Vanessa cannot contact you or come near you. Second, we're putting your assets in an irrevocable trust. They can't touch your house or pension. Third, we're going to the police with that recording. The police, Mrs. Chambers, they committed conspiracy to commit fraud. That fake doctor, he's probably not even licensed. And your daughter-in-law just confessed to the whole scheme on tape. The DA will be very interested in this. My phone buzzed. I looked down. 17 missed calls from Daniel, 23 text messages. Mom, where are you? Mom, I'm at the hospital. Where did you go? Mom, I'm really sick. I need you. Why aren't you answering? Mom, please, lies. Every word a lie. I showed Rebecca the messages. She photographed them. More evidence. Keep your phone on. Let him keep texting. Everything he sends is more proof of the con. Jennifer's recording played again on Rebecca's computer. Vanessa's voice filled the office. She's a burden. She's getting old, getting forgetful. We're just accelerating the timeline. I'd spent 72 years being kind, being understanding, being the peacemaker. I'd raised Daniel alone after his father died, worked 2 jobs to put him through college, helped him buy his first car, paid for his wedding. And this was how he repaid me. Do it, I said. All of it. File the protective order. Protect my assets. Call the police. I want him to face what he's done. Rebecca smiled, not a happy smile, a satisfied smile. Good. Let's begin. The next 3 days were a blur. The protective order was granted immediately. Judge Harrison took one look at Jennifer's recording and signed it on the spot. My house and pension went into an irrevocable trust with Rebecca as the trustee. I could live in the house, access my money, live normally, but no one else could touch it. Daniel called 47 times. I didn't answer once. On the 4th day, 2 police detectives came to my house. Detectives Morrison and Chen. They listened to the recording 3 times, took my statement, asked detailed questions. Mrs. Chambers, Detective Morrison said gently, "Do you want to press charges?" I looked at the photos on my mantle. Daniel as a baby, Daniel's first day of school, Daniel graduating college, Daniel's wedding day. In every photo, I was smiling, proud, loving, that mother believed her son would never hurt her. "Yes," I said, "I want to press charges." The detectives arrested Daniel and Vanessa that afternoon. The fake doctor who turned out to be Vanessa's cousin Marcus, not a real doctor at all, was arrested an hour later. The charges: conspiracy to commit fraud, attempted elder financial abuse, and impersonation of a medical professional. Daniel made bail the next day. He came straight to my house despite the protective order, pounded on the door. Mom, please, let me explain." I called 911. He was arrested again for violating the protective order. This time, bail was set at $50,000. He couldn't afford it. He sat in jail for 2 weeks before the arraignment. I attended the hearing, sat in the back row. Watched as my son stood before the judge in an orange jumpsuit, hands cuffed. His lawyer, a public defender who looked exhausted, tried to argue that it was all a misunderstanding, that Daniel never intended to go through with it, that it was just talk. The prosecutor, a sharp woman named Davis, played Jennifer's recording for the courtroom. Stage 4 cancer, inoperable, maybe 6 months to live. By the time she realizes the diagnosis was fake, the documents are filed. She's a burden. We're just accelerating the timeline. The judge's face hardened with every word. "Mr. Chambers," Judge Harrison said when the recording finished, "do you have anything to say?" Daniel looked back into the courtroom. Our eyes met. I saw desperation there, fear, but not remorse, not yet. "I'm sorry," he said. "I didn't mean for it to go this far. You didn't mean to defraud your mother, or you didn't mean to get caught." Silence. The judge set a trial date for 3 months away. Bail was increased to $75,000. Daniel went back to jail. Vanessa's father posted her bail. She was released the next day and immediately started calling me. I blocked her number. She showed up at my house. I called the police. She hired a lawyer who sent threatening letters about destroying our family. Rebecca sent back a letter that said simply, "Your client committed a felony. The evidence is overwhelming. Cease all contact with Mrs. Chambers or face additional harassment charges." The calls stopped. During those 3 months before trial, I had time to think, time to process, time to understand how I'd gotten here. Daniel hadn't always been like this, or maybe he had and I'd been too blind to see it. When his father died 15 years ago, I'd given Daniel money to help with the funeral costs. $5,000 I could barely afford. When he lost his job 3 years ago, I'd given him another $10,000 to get back on his feet. When he and Vanessa wanted to buy a house 2 years ago, I'd co-signed their mortgage. They defaulted after 6 months. I'd ended up paying $12,000 to protect my credit. Every time Daniel had promised to pay me back, he never did. Every time I told myself that's what mothers do, they help their children. But there's a difference between helping and enabling, between supporting and being used. I'd been so afraid of losing Daniel, so afraid of being alone, that I'd let him take and take and take, until he tried to take everything. The trial lasted 4 days. The prosecution presented Jennifer's recording, my testimony, phone records showing Daniel and Marcus planning the scheme for weeks, and testimony from hospital staff who'd seen them rehearsing in room 412. The defense tried to claim it was a joke that went too far, that they never intended to actually defraud me, but the power of attorney documents were real, already filled out with my information, ready for my signature. The jury deliberated for 6 hours, guilty on all counts. Vanessa got 3 years in prison. Marcus got 2 years for fraud and impersonation. Daniel got 4 years. When the judge read the sentence, Daniel broke down, sobbing. Begging, "Mom, please, tell them you forgive me. Tell them to reduce the sentence, please." I sat in the back row, hands folded in my lap, and said nothing. That was 2 years ago. Daniel will be released in 18 months with good behavior. He writes me letters, one every month, long letters full of apologies and explanations and promises. I was weak. Vanessa manipulated me. I was desperate for money. I never wanted to hurt you. I love you, Mom. Please forgive me. I read every letter, but I don't respond. Not because I don't love him. I do. He's my son. That doesn't just disappear. But because love doesn't mean letting someone destroy you. I've rebuilt my life. The house is truly mine now, protected in a trust. My pension is secure. I volunteer at the senior center teaching art classes. I've made new friends, real friends who don't see me as a bank account. Jennifer and I have coffee once a month. She saved me. I'll never forget that. Rebecca handles all my legal affairs. My will leaves everything to charity. Daniel gets nothing. Not out of spite, but because giving him money would be giving him permission to see me as a resource rather than a person. People ask me if I'll forgive him when he gets out, if we'll reconcile. I don't know, maybe. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, doesn't mean trusting again, doesn't mean giving him another chance to hurt me. Some people call me cold, heartless. He's your son, they say. Family is family, but family isn't an excuse for abuse. Blood relation doesn't give someone the right to destroy you. I'm 74 years old now. I've lived long enough to understand that the people who truly love you don't need to steal from you. Don't need to lie to you, don't need to create elaborate schemes to take what's yours. The people who truly love you show up, tell the truth, respect your boundaries. Everyone else, they can write all the apology letters they want. If you're listening to this story and you recognize yourself in it, if you have family members who see you as an obstacle, who pressure you to sign documents, who make you feel like a burden, please hear me. You are not a burden. You are not an obstacle. Your life, your home, your money, your dignity, these things are yours. You earned them. You deserve to keep them. And it's never too late to protect yourself. I was 72 years old when I finally stood up to my son. 72 when I finally said, no more. If I can do it, so can you. Because sometimes the bravest thing a mother can do is refuse to be destroyed by her own child. Sometimes love means protecting yourself. And sometimes the most important person you can save is yourself. 3 months after Daniel's sentencing, something happened that I didn't expect. I got a call from Jennifer. Mrs. Chambers, I wanted to let you know there's been a development. The hospital administrator wants to meet with you. They want to discuss what happened. I agreed to meet. Rebecca came with me. We sat in a conference room on the hospital's executive floor. The administrator, Dr. Helen Park, was a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a firm handshake. Mrs. Chambers, first, I want to apologize on behalf of Sacred Heart Hospital. What happened on our premises, the planning, the fake doctor, the room they were going to use, it should never have been possible. It wasn't your fault, I said quietly. Actually, it was. We've discovered that Marcus Wilson, the man who impersonated a doctor, used to work here as a medical assistant. He was fired 2 years ago for falsifying records, but he still had access to an old employee badge. That's how he got into the building and accessed an empty room. Dr. Park slid a folder across the table. We've completely overhauled our security protocols because of this incident. But more importantly, I want to tell you about something else we're doing. She opened the folder to show me a program outline. Jennifer Martinez brought your case to our attention not just because she stopped the fraud, but because she recognized the warning signs. She'd seen similar situations before, adult children manipulating elderly parents, using medical emergencies as cover for financial abuse. We're implementing a new program, Dr. Park continued. We're training all our emergency room staff to recognize elder financial abuse. When someone comes in panicked about a family member's emergency, we now have protocols to verify the emergency is real before the person signs anything or makes any financial decisions. Jennifer spoke up. Mrs. Chambers, your case, what happened to you, is helping us protect other people. The administrator has asked me to help design the training program. We're calling it the Patricia Chambers Protocol. My eyes filled with tears. You're naming it after me. Your courage in pressing charges, in letting the case go public, gave us the framework we needed. You're helping protect people you'll never meet. I couldn't speak for a moment. Finally, I managed. I just didn't want him to do it to someone else. He won't, Rebecca said firmly. And because of you, a lot of other people won't be able to either. 6 months later, I got another unexpected visitor. Vanessa's mother, Carol, she called first, asking if she could come by. I almost said no, but something made me agree. She arrived on a Saturday afternoon carrying a small box. She looked older than I remembered, her face lined with stress. Patricia, she said when I opened the door, thank you for seeing me. We sat in my living room that Daniel and Vanessa had tried to steal. Carol held the box in her lap, her hands shaking. I came to apologize and to give you this. She opened the box. Inside was jewelry, expensive jewelry, a diamond bracelet, pearl earrings, a gold necklace. I didn't know, Carol said, her voice breaking. I swear I didn't know what they were planning. When Vanessa was arrested, when I heard the recording, when I learned what she tried to do to you, I was horrified. Why are you giving me jewelry? Because Vanessa bought all of this with money they stole from you over the years. Every time they borrowed money for emergencies that never existed, every time they said they needed help with rent or car payments, they were buying luxury items, living beyond their means on your generosity. I stared at the jewelry. Thousands of dollars worth bought with my money. I've been trying to figure out how to make this right, Carol continued. I sold my car, took out a loan, and I'm giving you this. It's not enough. It's not even close. But it's something. Why? I asked. Why are you doing this? Vanessa is your daughter. Carol looked at me with tears streaming down her face. Because you're someone's mother too, and what my daughter did to you, what my daughter became, it's unforgivable. I raised her better than this, or I thought I did. We sat in silence for a long moment. I'm not taking the jewelry, I said finally, but I appreciate you coming here. I appreciate you acknowledging what happened. Please, Carol begged, please take it. Let me do something to make this right. I thought about it. Okay, but I'm not keeping it. I'm donating it. There's a women's shelter downtown that helps women escaping financial abuse. They can sell this jewelry and use the money to help other people. Carol nodded slowly. That's perfect. Thank you. She stood to leave, then paused at the door. Patricia, when Vanessa gets out in a year, when Daniel gets out after that, if they ever try to contact you again, you call me. You call me and I'll deal with them. I promise you that. After she left, I sat holding that box of jewelry. I thought about how many people had been hurt by Daniel and Vanessa's greed. Not just me, but Carol, the hospital, the community. Greed doesn't just destroy the victim, it destroys everyone it touches. 18 months after Daniel's sentencing, 6 months before his scheduled release, I got a letter that was different from all the others. It was shorter. Handwritten instead of typed, and it said something none of the previous letters had said. Mom, I understand why you won't respond to my letters. I understand why you can't forgive me. I don't blame you. I'm not writing to ask for anything. Not forgiveness, not money, not a relationship. I'm writing to tell you that you were right. I've been in therapy here for 16 months, court-ordered at first, but I continued voluntarily. And I've finally started to understand what I became. I was entitled, greedy, cruel. I looked at you and saw a bank account instead of my mother. I justified taking from you by telling myself you'd already lived your life, that it was my turn. But you know what the therapist helped me see? That attitude didn't start with the hospital scam. It started years ago. Every time I borrowed money and didn't pay it back. Every time I let you help when I should have helped myself. Every time I chose the easy path of taking from you instead of the hard path of earning my own way. I destroyed our relationship one small choice at a time over many years. The hospital scam was just the final, most visible betrayal in a long chain of betrayals. I'm not asking you to take me back. I'm not asking you to trust me again. I'm just asking you to know that I finally see what I did. All of it, not just the crime I'm in prison for, but all the smaller crimes I committed against your love and trust for years. When I get out, I'm moving to Seattle, far enough that I won't accidentally run into you. Far enough that you never have to worry about me showing up at your door. I'm going to build a life based on work I actually do, money I actually earn. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be different, not for you. I know it's too late for that, for me, because I don't want to be the person who did what I did. Not anymore. I love you, Mom. I always did, even when I treated you like I didn't. Even when I chose money over you. I'm sorry. I know those words aren't enough, but they're true. Daniel, I read that letter 5 times. Then I put it in my desk drawer with all the others. I didn't respond. Not yet, maybe not ever. But for the first time, I felt something shift. Not forgiveness, that would take time if it came at all, but maybe the beginning of understanding. Daniel was released 4 months later. True to his word, he moved to Seattle. I know because Carol told me. She checks in with me occasionally, bringing me updates I never ask for but don't refuse. He got a job at a lumber yard, she said during one visit. Nothing fancy. He's living in a studio apartment, taking the bus to work. He hasn't contacted Vanessa since she got out. Vanessa, according to Carol, had moved to California. No contact with Daniel, no attempts to reach me. She'd simply disappeared into a new life somewhere. He asks about you, Carol added quietly. Daniel, not to me directly, he knows I talk to you, but he asks his father, who tells me. He wants to know if you're okay, if you're happy. I am, I said, and I meant it. My life at 75 is peaceful, full. I have my art classes, my friends, my volunteer work. I have my house, my pension, my security. I have my dignity. 3 months ago, I got a package in the mail. No return address, but the postmark said Seattle. Inside was a cashier's check for $5,000 and a note. Mom, this is the first installment. It will take me years to pay back everything I took from you, but I'm going to do it. $500 a month, every month until it's done. Not because I think this fixes anything, just because it's the right thing to do. I stared at that check for a long time. $5,000, the exact amount I'd given him for his father's funeral 15 years ago. Rebecca advised me to cash it. He's trying to make amends, that's significant. Jennifer agreed. He's doing the work. That matters. I deposited the check. And the next month, when another arrived, I deposited that too. I didn't respond to the notes that came with them. I wasn't ready for that, but I didn't send the money back either. Last month, on my 76th birthday, I had a small party at my house. Jennifer came, Rebecca came, Carol came, some friends from the senior center, some neighbors. We were sitting in the garden, the same garden where I'd spent so many afternoons after my husband died, the same garden where I'd planned Daniel's wedding reception, the same garden that Daniel had tried to steal, when Jennifer asked me something. "Mrs. Chambers, do you think you'll ever talk to Daniel again?" I thought about it, really thought about it. "I don't know," I said honestly. Part of me wants to believe he's changed. Part of me is still too hurt to care. And part of me knows that whether he's changed or not, I'm okay either way. What do you mean? I mean, I spent so many years afraid of losing him that I let him hurt me. I let him take advantage of me because I thought keeping him in my life was worth any price. I looked around at the people gathered in my garden, but I learned something. The price was too high. And I'm worth more than that. Rebecca raised her glass to Patricia, the strongest woman I know. Everyone raised their glasses to Patricia. If you're watching this video and you see yourself in my story, if you have family members who treat you like a bank account, who pressure you to give them money, who make you feel guilty for having boundaries, please listen to me. You don't owe your adult children your savings. You don't owe them your house. You don't owe them your security. You raised them. You gave them childhood, education, opportunities. You've already given them everything a parent is supposed to give. What comes after that, their adult lives, their financial choices, their success or failure, that's on them, not you. And if they can't love you without your money, then what they feel isn't love. It's greed wearing love's mask. I was 72 years old when I finally understood that, when I finally chose my own dignity over my son's manipulation. It cost me my relationship with him, at least for now, maybe forever, but it gave me something more valuable. It gave me back myself, the woman who taught school for 45 years. The woman who raised a child alone after her husband died. The woman who worked 2 jobs to give that child every opportunity. That woman deserved better than to be conned in a hospital hallway by her own son. And she finally stood up and demanded better. So can you, because it's never too late to choose yourself, never too late to say no, never too late to protect what's yours. Your dignity isn't negotiable. Your security isn't something you owe to ungrateful children. And your life, your beautiful, hard-earned life, is worth defending, even if you have to defend it from your own family. Drop a comment below and tell us. Would you have pressed charges against your own child? Would you have had the courage to record the conversation and take it to the police? Or would you have tried to handle it privately? Your voice matters. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we share real stories about real courage. Stories about impossible choices and the strength it takes to protect yourself when the people who should love you try to destroy you. Click the next video on your screen right now, another powerful story about family betrayal and the courage it takes to fight back. Remember, you are not a burden, you are not an obligation. You are a human being with dignity and rights, and you deserve to be treated with respect, especially by the people who claim to love you. See you in the next story.